think the honorable thing for our species to do is deny our programming. Stop reproducing. Walk hand in hand into extinction. One last midnight, brothers and sisters opting out of a raw deal.
Do not trust any friends or family members. I repeat, do not trust friends.
You can assume that anytime we're not directly being recorded, we're talking about that.
Just constant.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I don't know what to say about that. I mean, who? Yeah.
It's hard to defend yourself. It's
Yeah. Oh shit. Anything else going on in the world, guys, other than face licking? Did you see the new Maxine trailer there, Chris?
No, I haven't seen it yet.
Oh well, it dropped. So we're gonna get the completion of that trilogy in July, August. What fuck? Maybe I'm totally wrong.
I think it's the fall. I think it's the fall it's coming out. But I'm super excited about that.
Oh, I
Did you
gotta
guys?
wait. Oh, fuck.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that's right. The XXX Maxine.
Yeah.
I didn't see the trailer yet, but I saw it on IMDb. I was gonna watch a trailer. I've been waiting to watch a couple trailers because I was looking at the Joker Part 2.
That trailer is a fucking shit show.
Awesome.
I fully expect it to be like garbage. I'm not going anywhere to watch that. I'll wait till straight to video. Thanks.
What you guys watch the original Joker? I've never seen it.
It's pretty honestly, like I think it got some critical, I think some people liked it. Some people liked his I think his performance was really extra.
For sure.
But it's really forgettable now, and I think a lot of people criticize it for being like Taxi Driver-esque.
It is directly, it's like Taxi Driver meets King of Comedy, and that's all it is with a Joker sheen on it. It's been done, it's played out. Parasite came out the same year, like same concept, but like 1,000 times better.
Yeah, it wasn't. I think I maybe was a bit hot for it when it came out because I think I really liked the effort that Joaquin put into it. To like just like, but it was like over the top. It's not really like it's not really even really the Joker. It's like a mentally ill guy.
And now they have Lady Gaga playing Harley Quinn, and it's going to be a musical. And like it simultaneously looks like the most dour piece of garbage you've ever seen. Well, they're trying to like have fun with it, and like I just don't think you can have it both ways.
Is this directed by the guy who did The Hangover?
Yeah,
I think.
Yeah. Because he got really upset because he's like, you can't do comedy anymore. People are gonna come after you, get canceled. So like this is sort of his veer into like, I don't know, whatever. Like,
yeah, it's like fuck you, cancel your time for the Joker.
Yeah. It's only the Joker from now on.
Yeah, I watched the trailer while you were talking. Like obviously I didn't hear any words, but
I don't think it's necessary.
It's really not. It's quite remarkable. Like it too is a movie that says to me, "Do not watch." Because I didn't.
Well, and then like I'm sorry, but like, it's not an indie movie, so don't fucking make it look like one. That bores me.
What if you're gonna take the Joker? Like the Joker is.
Get a proper costume and some proper makeup. Fuck off with this.
Yeah, make him doing something villainous or whatever. Like my understanding is it's just he leads some sort of shitty reactionary mob or something is what I've.
Yeah. They did that for like 2 minutes at the end of the first movie, and the rest of the time it was just like a mental defective guy wandering around the city, bathing his mom.
Funny that so why did they put this Joker movie in the category of Eat the Rich?
Because he's downtrodden, like he's like has to work like a shitty part-time job as like a sign guy, and he's like beat up and bullied on the public transit, and he's like a lower city type,
Yeah,
right.
It flirts with sympathy for like alt-right narratives, I'd have to say. Like I'm not saying that it is that. But I think that it is tapping into a kind of resentment that's directionless, rage against the people on top.
Yeah.
And there's a space opened up.
Yeah, because I like that, but I don't know that I liked this.
Right, exactly. Because like there's that recognition can go in good directions, but this didn't go in good directions.
Yeah, that's what I've gathered at a distance.
Yeah, you never even had the urge, eh?
No, not. And I like Joaquin. I'll watch a lot of movies just because he did it. But in this particular instance, it had James repellent all over it, and I don't think the second movie is any different. Yeah, but this theme, this topic of eat the rich, it seems appropriate for April, which is I tried anyway to give ourselves an eat the rich April again this year, and for that we're I don't know if they're still making these eat the rich movies and eat the rich TV shows. I'm sure they will. This trend seems to have legs, but with growing inequality and whatnot. But we watched White Lotus season 2 here at the X-tinction Agenda with James
and Chris.
Yeah. Chris, this was your suggestion. Obviously, it had been on lists regarding the subject of eat the rich and whatnot. But not to put you on the spot, what brings us to the shores of the mighty White Lotus?
I liked the first season, and that sort of satirical take on it. But there's something about season 2 that just really appealed to me. We'll get into it, I'm sure.
Yeah.
But it's just like it's grimier, it's smuttier. It's just like the fact the Italian setting, the just sort of like everything kind of coming unhinged on this Paradise Vacation really really spoke to me.
Right. I read a little bit about this. So season 1's in Hawaii or something like that, and this one's in Sicily. There we go. Forgot how to say Sicily for some reason. Wanted to call it Cecilia, and then I was like, no, that's not. That's a song. I mean, that's not even a song. So it's. I gather it's just like because they got a season 3 coming up, and it's basically like a bunch of rich people in various narratives show up at a hotel.
Yeah, like the White Lotus is a chain. It's like super
like sandals.
Luxury. Yeah, but like the best of the best, right? Like for the wealthiest of the wealthiest.
Okay. Oh, I guess we should tell the audience I only watched episodes 4 through 7, so the back half. But I did watch just now the first episode, and I'm glad I did. Actually, it does some things that like
the first 3 episodes are a lot of like setup and character development, and then sort of shit hits the fan by episode 4.
Yeah, and Chris suggested that as the and it was probably a good call.
It's true because we did the whole thing. Because Kate watched the whole thing, and I felt like by episode 3 I was like, fuck, this is not as good as season 1. and then after episode 4 it picked up, and I retract that.
Right. So so they go to this resort, and like, is it the same thing where episode number 1 opens up with the dead body, and then rewind 1 week earlier to find out where that dead body came from? Is that too part of this?
Okay. Exactly.
That actually, that happens in part of season 1 as well.
Yeah, they redo the same formula, and then you're basically you get like a lot of character development, very uncomfortable scenarios, and a slow build up to a death.
Yeah. Which that's a good engine. That's a good little train to put your narrative on, your little TV show. You can trot that out season after season. You get the fancy locales, and you get the big name, not the big name stars, but you get some faces.
We did talk about that today. We got some special names coming in next season, actually.
Yeah, is that shit confirmed? Because those.
Yeah, that's confirmed. Yeah.
So yeah, we're gonna get
Walton Goggins. Yeah, Jason Isaacs. What's her name? Peppy.
Not a clue. Yeah. Anyway,
Poppy Peppy.
another other fancy names will show up, and that just seems like bigger than this show. Like, I'm not that this show is small by any stretch, but it doesn't. I don't know. Those are some big names to put in this. It's going to give it a very different flavor.
Yeah, sorry, Parker
Thailand as
Parker
well.
Posey. Apologies to Parker Posey, who's a great actress, and I just slogged her name.
That's okay.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But yeah, season 2 was I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah. I started off, as I do with all television, very frustrated with it, just because something about the way television is filmed, like, I put it on and it immediately feels like I'm falling asleep on my grandma's couch. You know, that late night, too tired, hearing the dialogue in the background and all those fucking empty spaces between people speaking. You know, like, there's something about television that is so sparse, and for obvious reasons. And this has a very good soundtrack, but somehow it still manages to have that feel, you know, and I was like, I fucking hate it. It's like nails on a chalkboard. But after the first episode, I was really like, or episode 4 or whatever, so like, what the fuck is this? Fuck.
Well, you're coming in hot to some pretty, like, in the midst conflict, and, like, I guess we should maybe just give a brief, like, not everyone has seen this if they're listening to this. So, like, basically it follows three plot lines. So there's a pair of couples who are, like, ultra rich, who have come, old friends, 2 college roommates coming on vacation after a long time, and there's a lot of deep-seated conflict simmering there, like a rivalry between the 2 guys. Then there's Tanya, who's played by Jennifer Coolidge. She's like the lone returning person from the first season. She's just like a fucking space cadet, like super, like, billionaire with no touchdown in reality. She's dragged her assistant along.
She was like some type of baron's daughter, right? Like a
Yes. Yeah, she just inherited all of her wealth and just, like, floats on, you know, just kind of takes vacations all the time. And then there's, like, this family, Christopher Moltisanti. It's what's his name? The from Sopranos. I don't even know his real name. But
Michael Imperioli.
Yes. Yeah. He's a director, like a famous film director, who's, like, had an affair and is taking a trip with his father and his son, and they're kind of trying to rediscover their Sicilian roots while he copes with the fallout of his marriage failing. And he's a serial cheater.
And the father, the old man, is like, one thing.
Total lech, yeah.
Yeah, I guess I'll just say, because it's a, you know, like, we're on the topic, but we don't have to stay there because we're still introducing everybody. But that notion of intergenerational, you know, like, inheritance, not just of wealth, but also of, like, habit, you know, like, womenizing habit and secrecy and that kind of thing, like this. That's what that little unit is about, mostly.
Good point. Yeah.
And each of the different units are about something different, but they all sort of interact with each other. Who haven't we described yet? Tanya.
Well, the hookers kind of have their own storyline, really, too.
Yeah, Lucia and Mia. Yeah, they do. And this show, I was really, having watched episode 4 through 7 and then coming back to episode 1, I saw how it was all going to play out. And then, so going back and experiencing how they were introduced was helpful. You know, I was like, it just confirmed the way that I was thinking about it. Like, they in the introduction, they're separated, they're separated by space. They're given, like, the way that Cameron and Daphne and Harper and Ethan are introduced. It was very economical. Like, you learned everything you needed to know about them without seeing them actually speak. They're on a boat, and so it's too loud to hear what they're saying, but you can, like, Audrey Plaza and, I don't know, Will Sharp, who played Ethan and Harper, they're all they're distant from each other. They're bickering in a very low key sort of way. And then you cut to Daphne and Cameron, and they're like, you know, they're all over each other, and they're like, ha ha ha. And the dynamic set up immediately, and you can feel the tension between the two couples. So yeah, it was. Who is this guy? This Mike White guy?
Yeah.
Writer of Dawson's Creek. Did you look up any of this guy's history?
He's an actor, right?
He's an actor, and also like he wrote a lot of television. He wrote Freaks and Geeks.
Oh, beautiful.
But he also wrote School of Rock and Nacho Libre.
Nice. I like School of Rock.
I love Nacho.
Yeah. And recently he's been like, he did the Emoji Movie and Despicable Me 4 and Migration.
Well,
okay.
Well, honestly, people got to pay the bills and stuff like that.
Yeah, I was gonna say you put some up to the studio, then you do some for yourself.
Honestly, the Emoji Movie took a lot of shit. It wasn't bad.
Okay, I didn't know that.
It's got Jennifer Coolidge in it, doing one of the voices, as far as I understand.
Shit. Okay, so they met on set. Stifler's mom. Like she was in, I think, Best in Show as well. Like she's sort of like a.
Oh yeah, Great Big Win. All that. I went in her stuff. I was like, that's a really good place to have.
She's a great comedic actress, like a character actress.
Yeah.
She's totally perfected that like over medicated like vacant stare. It's amazing.
Fuck. Yeah. So anyway, go on.
No, I was gonna say I didn't realize she had done some work in Rick and Morty as well.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So she's doing lots of voice acting and stuff. She's around. So this Mike White guy, it's written and directed by this fella. Like this is a vision from Mike White, and it's like I was saying, it's a pretty good little engine, like story engine. I'm gonna go put cards on the table and say like there's nothing about this that to me means that it ought to fit in the Eat the Rich category.
Go ahead.
Well, but then that, like, if we're gonna have to define our terms. What is an Eat the Rich movie? That kind of thing, or Eat the Rich show. But my initial response is that this is like it's just a comedy of upper and lower class, and mostly upper class. Like it's not interested largely in criticizing the voraciousness of capital or any shit like that. It's just
I think that's true. I think that one thing that gets lost in sort of the cultural conversation about The White Lotus is that the first season is built a little differently. I think you see more of that in the dynamics between service people and the rich in the first season. The second season, I think, is more not abstractly, but like more focused on the idea of desire.
Yes.
And like the impossibility of quenching it. And like that, from that vector, you're getting sort of like a critique of greed and sort of like just like always wanting more. And it plays out in different ways, but it's not quite as focused on the class part of it.
Okay, all right. I did wonder about that. Like there are servants in this, like the hotel lady, Valentina.
The sex workers, like of various stripes.
Yeah.
I'd agree too. I don't. There doesn't seem to be the real, the malicious, like the first season had like a sort of a hatred between the service class and the rich. That was like that you could get behind. This one doesn't really have that. It's not criticizing on that level. It's just people at work, and you don't really pick up that vibe that there's really any like hatred between them. They actually kind of commingle in a few instances.
Yeah, except I think there's subtly like there's an underclass who have learned, like, and I think it really is expressed mainly through sex workers. Like the guy too, the what's his name, the English, like Quentin's like quote unquote nephew.
Oh, nephew, Jack. Yeah.
Okay, Jack.
And Portia too. Portia has like a place that she carves out herself a little job out of this,
And she's dread,
and she knows her place. Like
yes.
in the underclass, that's for sure, right?
Yeah, and I think that there's like a perspective that these characters have, and a wisdom, almost like a bleak wisdom that says like like when Jack lectures Portia about like you think your life's bad, or like when he's saying like, do you want to live back in the Middle Ages where they like ripped each other's to shreds all the time? You live in the best planet, the best place in all of history, and if you can't be happy here, then you're never going to be happy.
Yeah, that's an interesting take too, right?
Yeah, from a guy who's like, the life that he lives, like, wow.
Well, then there's a lot of like, I think what's happening in there is a sort of an act of repression on his part, and like it's a justification for pushing things aside. Like you see that with the initial interaction between Cameron and Daphne and Ethan and Harper, because Harper's revealed Audrey's Plaza's, or is it Aubrey? Anyway, she's revealed to be like an employment lawyer. She can't sleep. She's worried about the environment, like all the stuff that's going on in the world. And Daphne and what's his nose respond in a sort of like really hackneyed, obvious sort of way, like, oh, we don't watch the news anymore, and it's not as bad. It's just polarizing, like we should just enjoy ourselves. Like it's and I think, and I was like, okay, well, why does he call it the White Lotus? And of course, Wikipedia answered this question for me, and it's based on, Chris, you probably know this, but that Tennyson poem, and there's comments about the lotus eaters, and it's basically they get high and they drift out of reality. Here's should life all labor be, let us alone. Time driveth us onward fast, and in the little while our lips are dumb. Let us alone. And then ellipses, and then later on, what pleasure can we have to war with evil? I think, this show is about drifting into like the ultra rich drifting into fantasy, like you were describing. What's her nose as vacant and reality, like, and we say it all the time, like, like you get a certain amount of money where you're just like, goodbye reality.
And one tension I think that this show keeps coming back to is like, there's for the rich, it is like it's the ultimate experience of relaxation. For the service class, it's sort of something else. And I think in this one, there's almost sort of like you see it in like the credits sequence. I think about all the time, like it's brilliant, like with the sort of like classical frescoes, and like it's kind of zooming in on all these like sort of like weird pervy details like that. Just it's like, like even in paradise, like what's going on, like there's volcanoes exploding, and there's like feel like donkeys like fucking on the beach or like whatever. So like, it's just like constantly picking at those little weird details. There's also, I think, Lucy and Mia, they have almost this like satanic energy of infiltrating paradise or infiltrating Eden and causing chaos and sowing discord.
Right. But also, just making money. It could be, right. Yeah. Like it's, that's kind of funny. I wouldn't have put that sort of energy on them, but I'll buy that. That makes sense. I think like I'm happy to talk about this show in like, I think it deserves, I keep calling it a great little engine, and I like to look at its pistons and cylinders and whatnot. I don't know anything about engines, so that's what you get out of me as far as the metaphor goes. Spark plugs. But I don't think it's I'll continue the metaphor. I don't think it's a very great car. It's not, this thing never like wowed me. It didn't take the corners well. I'm just going to drive this into the ground. But it did feel like it was just, it was a drama, and that's fine. But it, even though it's a mystery, you want to find out who died at the end, but like I never felt concerned for anyone. No one felt like they were actually in danger at any point. Like the threat of death felt very mechanical, and I don't know if like the first season's any different than that, but
not really. It lingers.
No, not really.
Yeah.
I don't think there's only there's a good feeling that there'll be a death in the last episode, and that holds true in this season as well. There's not really even a threat of it, and by the time it does manifest itself, it's so funny or so fucking harebrained and insane that you're just kind of kind of that to me, that's where the comedy really kicks in too for these.
Yeah, people call this thing a comedy, and but I laugh. Okay, so when Jennifer Coolidge fucking takes a header off that boat, that made me. I was very happy about that because I hate her.
That was probably the only time that I laughed out loud for the whole season, and I fucking laughed. I buried my hands in my face, and I just fucking laughed. It was such a grimy death.
Yeah. Like she just survives this assassination attempt against her, and she's like, but of course she's so fucking dumb. She just thinks that she's gonna manage. Like she can barely walk. Like she's so. It was a perfect death for her. And it allowed her some sort of dignity at the same time as it had took it away from her.
She walks through the cabin just with her head down, firing that pistol, and when she looks up, everyone's dead.
She butchered everybody. She survived. She beat the odds, and then and the worst part is there's a lower part of the boat where you would access a docked boat. You just had to go down the stairs, and she just leaps to her death.
I don't think so. I'm sorry. I'm looking at the scene right now. I don't think actually she could.
She does. Oh, you don't think she could have got?
I don't think she could have got down. I like looking at it, like the mechanics of what I'm looking at here.
Oh no, I thought there was a sort of a swimming area off the back of the boat that that's where he got on.
Oh, well, it's totally possible. I mean, basically, she didn't have to die, and it's hilarious that she did.
Yes.
I love her little pep talk to herself right before just so.
Oh, that was amazing.
Yeah, you got this.
Yeah,
you can do it. And then
smashes her head.
It's the sound of an aluminum bat just hitting a chunk of meat.
And she doesn't even take off her stupid shoes, and she's crying. It's like she knows she's gonna die. Oh my goodness, terrible head over tea kettle. So, but yeah, that's. I don't know. Maybe I didn't want this show to carry a sort of horror movie sense of dread. It does want to luxuriate in the surroundings of Sicily. It wants to sell a certain sort of isn't this fun attitude, and then watch these rich people have soap opera problems, and there'll be a death at the end, yeah. I'm just not sure. Yeah, it's fine. As far as TV dramas go and whatnot, and things that you can do, great. This has kind of maybe a Mad Men vibe, but not really about. Well, no, I guess it's similar in that it's about desire.
Yeah, along different angles.
Yeah. Mm.
Well, I think one thing that really you kind of ties everything together is just that quest for, just that quest to be satisfied, and you see it with it definitely plays out with the three, the family, I'm gonna keep calling Christopher Moltisanti because that's I can't. Yeah, she's never gonna be anything like that to me. But he's
Albie and Bert.
Yeah, Albie's the worst.
Albie, Burton, and Dominic.
Oh, what's wrong with Albie?
Albie sucks. Yeah, so James wouldn't have seen this, but you saw they had this conversation about The Godfather, and Albie's trying to convince his father and his grandfather that no, men don't want power. It's media that shows them images of these sorts of mafia figures, and then
I think he says to his dad and his grandpa, guys, you don't understand anything about the modern world. Gender is a construct. And I think I audibled. Jesus Christ.
We laughed. Don't worry, man. I don't even know how to say Sicily, so we're good to go.
Yeah, it was just. He's a cuck.
Yeah, and
it was just funny that he got, and it was so predictable that he would get sewered by the hooker.
He got played so hard, yeah.
Yeah, and it's funny that he kind of expected it as well. It was almost whatever. I mean, there was a positivity almost to his story, because it was that he's so modernized and and sort of like course corrected comparatively to the previous sort of broken generations that even in failure he sort of expected it as well.
That's true. Yeah, there's kind of an irony to his arc because James, him and Portia sort of have a flirtation at the start before they break. Like Portia kind of like
picked up
like,
on.
What's with this guy? He's like he's just sort of nothing. So when what's his name again? The English dude. Yes, Jack kind of shows
Jack,
up. Yeah. She starts like flirting hard with him, like trying to make Augie jealous, and then they kind of split off. So when they come back together, it's sort of like
that's in episode like 4 or 5 or something. Like.
Yeah, I think 3 years. But anyway, yeah, like when they come back together, there's this sort of like they learn to stay in their lane and like together. Right. they have that moment of sort of like, what's your number at it's like one of the final scenes.
Yeah. It was like it's sort of they both sort of veered to sow their wild oats, and then he came back around and decided being a normie was more what they were down for.
Yeah, I was thinking as you were talking, James, about like the overcorrection elements, because like this grandfather it's like gradations of womanizing, like the father is like straight up like old school flirting with anything that moves. The father, like carried on some sort of long-term affair and engages sex workers, et cetera, and then I guess Albie, having witnessed all of this and the damage that it caused, overcompensated, overcorrected. And so like it was very difficult for me to like he's just the sort of fucking guy that's going to fall in love with a sex worker. He's going to just not going to understand the relationship. It's going to make no sense to him.
Thinks he can save her.
Yeah, thinks he can save her, right? And she doesn't really, and the thing, like, she doesn't need saving.
She definitely, it's a con the whole time, like that sort of like, if you don't give him the money, it's just that there's this guy who needs the money.
It's true. Her pimp ended up being just like a guy that works at a retail store down the street at the end. There was a little nod to that.
Yeah. Like they're amazing because like they are. I think this is where that class warfare comes in this season. That there's a sense that because you're rich, you can come in, enjoy the locals, take advantage, and the locals are, they can bite back too, and it's fine. Like you don't mind the fact that they got taken advantage of because like fuck those guys, like.
Well, and they're not really injured by it. Like when Albie goes up to his dad, Dominic, he was asked for like 50,000 euros or something like that, and he's like, "Dad, that's nothing for you. That's like that doesn't as an amount of money that I don't forget how he says it, but it's just like it doesn't mean anything to you. It's an amount of money that you could hand me right now, and it's going to make no difference." So it's not even like they're victimized in any respect. It's like that's the service he paid for, essentially.
Yeah, the girlfriend experience, if you will.
I also find it kind of funny because Dominic had it transferred directly to the hooker, knowing full well the lesson his son was going to learn. Like he knew he knew that he was giving it away. He said, "I'll call it my karmic payment," and because they were talking about the karma in the initial like ask of that sort of money request from his dad, like I'll put in a good word with mom or whatever. But when he transfers it, he gives it directly to the hooker, and you just know it's a wash.
Yeah, for sure.
Because it's actually a payment to get Augie to put in a good word with him for the mom. Like he's changed on this trip. Like that's the message. He's like, back.
And it is. Yeah, that is a change for him, like that, like I'll help you manipulate mom.
Yeah, but then there's the irony, like the final scene where they're like standing in line together, and all three of the men turn to check out that beautiful woman passing by. Like, nothing's changed.
Yeah,
it's funny too to think that all the relationships in this show have like an invasive force against them. That was like a big notice for me too. Like the hookers inserted themselves into the two couples relationships, but then the gays inserted themselves into Jennifer Coolidge's scenario and relationship, and it was just everybody had their sort of like their battle their local to sort of contend with. But yeah, I think like you say too, James, none of it mattered to them really, except for there were some higher stakes on the Coolidge one. But even that, she, like you say, she ended up overcoming all the odds and then sort of dying because of
herself
in spite of herself.
Yeah, well, I guess we haven't talked about that at all. So Tanya's character, she shows up, her husband is there, and I don't see why he leaves, but he leaves at some point, and then so Tanya gets together like some gay men, they treat her like a princess, they treat her like she's, oh, you're just the most beautiful thing around here, and just come hang out with us. And she's quite happy to do so. And then like this elaborate fucking plot is revealed, whereby I think the story that I've gathered is that like Greg, Tanya's husband, was fell in love with another man, Quentin, way back when, or at the very least like established some sort of relationship that lasted for a long time, and some sort of plot was hatched for Quentin to take his wife to a villa, get the local mafia involved, to execute her, so that way he could inherit all of her money.
You got
before divorce happens or something like that.
Yeah, that's correct.
Okay, and that's fucking stupid. That's like so, but it's also like at the beginning, it's about reality TV. Like, so the first thing that what's her nose says, Daphne, is, I just really love reality TV, where like wives kill husbands or husbands kill wives.
Right.
It's just so good. And then the whole, like, he just put a big sign on it and it was like, this is going to be one of those stories. And that's cute, but also it's like, it's dumb. Like it's conventionally.
If you'd seen more of Greg in the first season, like it might make a little more sense.
Well, I saw a lot of him in the first episode. Like I get, honestly, I don't need to get Greg in order to understand the harebrained plot. Like,
yeah,
he's a villain who hired killers to get his wife's money. I get it. Unless he.
What's the general consensus on the old school trope of hilariously using quote unquote the gays as
right, yeah,
demonic villains?
Love it.
I think under it wasn't like it's offensive, like as you put it, like, yeah, it is, it just contributes to that fucking trope or whatever. But it's perfect for the character of Tanya, who, like, I'm gonna pull out an offensive term, like she she's the fag hag, right? In the group, and like that makes sense for her.
I think that's exactly why it works. Yeah.
Yeah. And because she's got like
that fun thing of like the sort of like, the like taking her out to like the ballet and the disco and like all this sorts of thing, like I haven't done cocaine for a while, and that when they introduced her to that, like the mafia gigolo or whatever, she's like, oh, I love how big your pupils are. She's just a fucking wreck. Awesome.
Yeah. Yeah, there's something enjoyable about her, and also at the same time, like, God, she looks awful. Like that's, you can't pretend to have ruined your face in the way that she's ruined her face, unless they somehow did that through makeup. Like that's no one else could have played that role exactly. Because
there's a lot of plastic surgery involved in having that type of aesthetic when you're older. So playing the role, I'm you know that she's like being aggressive with her mannerisms and facial expressions. Like, I'm sure she's not quite like that, as bad as portrayed, but
probably not. Yeah, because she's an actress or whatever. But I'm still, though, that's not anybody could do that. So it's kind of a shame almost that she unless they bring her back, unless she's resurrected or we get like a prequel or something.
Doesn't feel like it, but yeah,
she
definitely carried for me, she carried both seasons. But
yeah, I think that's fair.
All right, so the Daphne, Cameron, Harper, Ethan thing, that's uncomfortable.
Yeah, there was another thing I was going to say. They did a very good job on the Ethan side portraying. We talked about that quick on the group chat. Was portraying anxiety.
Oh yeah.
And I feel like they did that with other people as well, with Portia, with the pianist when he was drugged.
Right.
And I just feel like they have for personal tension and discomfort and anxiety, they're really able to showcase it, bring it to the forefront, and show how you can spiral, show how you can be on a one-track mind. And they didn't use any dialogue really for any of it. It was just well shot.
One of my favorite moments, speaking to that, in the whole show was when Portia starts to click in that, oh shit, I've kind of been abducted by this guy who's like showing me around the town. I meant to stay away. And then like he's like, just, I love how like increasingly disgusting he gets. Like, I'm gonna take a shit and then I have to go. I'll get us some more beers because we need to.
I just love beer. Oh.
Yeah. And then,
yeah. Don't you want to be satisfied?
He's so hammered and like just like laying on the bed and just like he's like, I was in a fucking hole. You complain about your life, you should shut it because you ain't never been in a fucking hole like that. And then she's like, what kind of hole? Very fucking deep. He's crying on the bed. And he's like, like Quentin, nobody's perfect. Sometimes you do some things you don't want to. It's just sort of like getting worse and worse until that on that phone call where Tanya's like, I didn't have the heart to tell you, but he was kind of fucking his uncle.
Yeah. What do you mean? Yeah, he was fucking his uncle.
I found that and this is a stupid thing for me to get bent out of shape about, but when Jack is, there's poor Tanya, she wakes up in the middle of the night, she's at the villa and she hears a noise or whatever, right? And she must be like fucking super down the hall. Like, what noise is she hearing? She might even be on another floor. Like, it's a huge building. And then she just goes for a walk and she happens to find them fucking. And like, again, fucking, it's just part of the convention, part of the narrative engine that we're looking at, and it moves something forward a little bit. But on the other hand, like, obviously I thought about the artifice of that, and I think that's kind of a failure.
It had kind of a Bluebeard's wife quality to me. Like, I could accept it from that, like, don't go checking out that thing and then you find out the horrible secret.
Yeah, I get it. Like, it's not, he knows what he's doing. What's this guy's name? Mike White. What a fucking boring name.
Yeah.
Jeez. The primary currency, even amongst the wealthy, and getting back to this concept of desire, and also getting back to Jack, and actually no, there was something more I wanted to. No, I wanted to say something about Portia and her anxiety and stuff like that, but maybe I'll get a chance to later. But the primary currency in all of this is just sex. The primary source of anxiety is sex.
Yeah.
Like trading sex for favors, reuniting over sex, being concerned about sex. Which, yeah, like, I guess I'll always have time for that. It's a perennial theme. I did find this, as much as I complain about like the TV quality of it and thinking that it's not the greatest thing I ever saw, like, I was entertained. Like, it did it did a good job with its themes and everything. Like, I don't really have a major complaint. Like, my one complaint is she woke up in the night and checked out dude fucking, and the rest of it all kind of made sense to me. Maybe some of the stuff in the other episodes I didn't see, maybe there would have been something in there, but
he looks just like Greg.
Yeah, right.
Fucking stupid.
Yes, thank you. That too. That exactly. That was it. She just happens to just slowly piece it together like a Nancy Drew mystery.
But kind of not at the same time. Like,
no,
yeah.
Like, not at all.
It takes a while to get there.
The best is when she shoots him and he's fucking gurgling blood, and she's like, "Is Greg having an affair?"
I forgot about that.
Oh fuck you! She hasn't even pieced it together at this point in time.
Like, she sort of has. Obviously, she wouldn't have answered the question. But
yeah, she pieced together that they were gonna kill her, but she doesn't really know why. Still, it's pretty great.
Yeah. But yeah, the anxiety thing. I just watched Jack jump out from behind a tree and scare Portia, and he's getting back to that like increasingly creepy, low vibe, and then disgusting. Yeah. But here was the thing about Portia. She is fucking pathetic and stupid, and Jack, like Jack's obviously very wounded and stuck in somewhere. He was in a hole. Like, you get the impression that, like, the sort of world that he's fallen into, you can't fall out of it once you've fallen into it. And Portia could fall out of the world that she's fallen into, but like, I saw that immediately in the first episode when she's like, "Oh, she says I have to stay in my room," and she's crying or whatever. And I think her mom's like, "You should quit," and she's like, "Oh, but she's a mess." And it's stupid. Like, what's the real reason for you to be stuck in this position other than like, your attachment to the, yeah. And you just want to fucking complain about the fact that you got to stay in a hotel and like, just fucking quit. And yeah,
I would just fucking stay in the hotel room.
I don't know, her complaint early, and I agreed. I too felt that way when I first heard of her complaints. But she's like, apparently, what was the comment? It's like, I spend all this time in a room back at work, and here I am in Italy, and I'm stuck in a room again, something like that. So there's something confining about working with Tanya over the last 3 years or something like that. But anyway, I just, out of all the characters, Portia interested me the least.
That's fair.
I had the least. True. Yeah, I did. Although at the same time, like, with the way her story finishes off, with Jack dropping her off and telling her just to get the fuck out of the country, that somehow still worked for me. It made sense for her. Like, she's sort of extraneous to everything, and like, what the narrative finally does with her is just drop her off near the airport and tell her to get out of here.
Yeah, because she had to be separated to isolate Tanya, but that's basically it.
Did you guys put together who Quentin was?
No, not the first time.
You recognized the actor?
Oh, the actor.
Yeah,
I recognized. I know that face, and you're going to tell me something, and I'm going to go, of course. But,
yeah, he is the bad. He was the slimy guy that was the secondary East India Trading Company guy from Pirates of the Caribbean.
Oh shit. Okay.
Okay, I wouldn't have. I know what all those words mean, but I don't understand.
He came after Johnny Depp. All right.
I haven't seen those movies in like a billion fucking years. As much as I like that first one.
Second one. He was in the second one.
Yeah. I'm just saying. As much as I like the first one.
Anyway.
Yeah. What else has he done though? Because I know that face, right?
He was really bad and like really evil in that movie.
Yeah, I'm sure. Pirates of the Caribbean franchise.
Pride and Prejudice? I don't know. Gosford Park.
Yeah, all right. I know him from that.
Okay.
Oh man, good for you for watching Gosford Park.
Oh, hey, dude, man, don't be like that. Oh, and he was in Hannah too. I challenge you to fucking watch Gosford Park. That's a Robert Altman joint, written by the dude who does Downton Abbey. There's nothing wrong with that movie. Fucking get ready. Buckle up. It's time for Gosford Park.
Downton Abbey.
Yeah.
I have a lot. Fuck, I almost fell asleep during this. I don't know how I'd fare in Gosford Park.
Well, just trust me, man.
Oh, Ryan Felipe?
Yeah, it's a good movie.
Maggie Smith? Wow, look at this fucking cast.
Yeah, there you go. Just keep reading. Just tune in. It's on Netflix, I think.
Charles Dance? Oh, I love you.
See? You fucking made fun of me.
All right.
Yeah.
Can't beat that cast. Can't go wrong.
No.
So we were going to talk about Aubrey Plaza and that whole Cameron.
Yeah, the whole thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
did Cameron fuck her? Or did what's his name go nuts?
That's a good question.
I don't think he has to have fucked her. Like, they kissed and they were going to fuck probably, but like, I think
10 minutes.
I think that's sufficient to have to have driven him, to the place that he got driven, particularly given the history between the two of them. Like, when he's talking about, like, he used to fuck all my girlfriends and stuff. Like, why did you go on the vacation with this guy except
because he wants to show up the fact that he's more successful now.
Oh, right. I felt it. Okay, well, I had, that's probably part of it as well, and I'm sure that's explicitly what's said in this. But I think he wants his girlfriend to be in danger. I think he too is not in danger, of course, but like, he wants to, something about that experience of, well, James, I'm always hesitant now to use the word cuck, but but yeah, I think there's something to him. He wants that because, like, I gather that he watches or sees what's his nose having sex with the sex workers, Cameron.
Yeah.
And apparently, like, this is a pattern, and like him and Aubrey are their marriage is on the rocks because they're not having sex. And so, like, how does this guy fucking remedy that? By I just need a real cuck experience so I could realize how much I want you. Like, it's.
I think you're right, and I think when he says, he tells Cameron,
really.
Yeah, he says, like, you have a bad case of mimetic desire. You want something that someone with higher status wants something. Makes it more likely that you'll want it too. And I think that's a bit of projection. I think that there's a part of him that's like entwined with Cameron and needs that rivalry. Because it does end like the final episode. Like, how do they end? They finally fuck.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it starts off that they're frigid and whatnot, and like, how do they get there? Through sexual dalliance with another couple who are used to sexual dalliances.
Yeah.
They keep a code of silence about the matter, but it's understood implicitly, or it ought to be understood implicitly between the two of them. That's like, everybody's fucking.
They kind of do. Like, I found Daphne amazing because she just sort of general attitude of like, you just got to do what you got to do not to be a victim.
Mm-hmm.
And when she decides that she's going to take Ethan over, they cross that like sandbar, and it's like very symbolic of like crossing into, crossing a line in the relationship. She's like, I surprise myself all the time. I don't know what I'm going to do from moment to moment. Hey, want to go over there? I want to check out that place before we leave. And just like so much is communicated just through like body language and like glances and flirtation. Like, she's fucking, she's just like sort of like with the sex worker. She's like, she's found her place like as the wife of this guy who's super rich and never going to keep it faithful. And she's just going to figure out how to live with that.
Well, she's like, get a trainer.
Like, yeah, that's right. She's like, I'm not going to be a victim. I'm just going to do my own thing. And that's like, I'll find a way to stay involved with this money. And then they have such a weird, like, symbiotic relationship where they like rely on each other for hollow intimacy. Just like sort of like, oh, like, I love being around you. It's like, so
like
weird.
Public displays of affection. I mean, honestly, I don't know that they don't like each other. Like, it seems that they get along.
Yeah, nothing about that. It reads like, in my experience with the humans, like those two things can coexist. It doesn't have to be hollow. I'm sure that Cameron and her have like an excellent chemistry between the two of each other. but like they're talking about like how you can't sow your oats, right? It's an explicit conversation between the four of them at some point, and they sort of, the quiet part gets said loud in that instance, and it's like, well, desire doesn't go away.
Yeah, they joke about cheating too. Like there's like, it's sort of like a playful thing between them, I love that conversation where Cameron's like, yeah, it's like having a big meal. Like, if you say you're never gonna touch food again, but like next 2 days later you're hungry.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's also where he's grabbing Aubrey Plaza's leg under the table.
That's right.
Yeah.
Stop it.
Yeah. So when she starts drinking, like just like shit starts going sideways, like that's riveting TV, I have to say. Just the, like,
no, go on.
No, just when she's like starts asking questions like, so have you guys ever slept with the same girl?
Yeah. Well, because she finds that like condom wrapper or whatever, right? Like I like how she's Aubrey's fucking, she's very good. I didn't.
She's amazing.
We haven't commented on that yet. Like, yeah, she, I do think that she has a thing that she does, like a character that she plays. Generally, like she doesn't have that wide a range, but within the range that she's good at, she's very good. Yeah, because she's sort of cringe at the beginning, like kind of lost, doesn't really understand like how awkward she's making everything. It takes up a lot of space. She's very annoying, very controlling. And then like she's sort of, I don't know, the act of losing control for her, kind of, well, her reaction to it is to like, I'm going to get back in control. I'm going to engage in some sort of like high stakes flirtation with this guy who obviously wants to have sex with me. And yeah, she manages to do those poles very well, between like the sort of frigid, awkward lady and the flirtatious lady and the, anyway, she's good. And she's very attractive and always fun to watch. As with everybody in this, everybody's, it's a good looking show, which is maybe probably a stupid thing to say at this point in the conversation, but
no, but it's true.
Yeah, it really makes use of the landscapes and the humans and the whatnot, and it really sells that not just luxury but sort of glamour.
Yeah. Oh, hey, you didn't talk about Valentina.
Oh no, I suppose we haven't. I guess that gets back to the.
Valentina doesn't do a whole lot though, like in terms of she just it's mostly just her. She's mostly just like a giant ball of anxiety. I like that she banishes that dude all the time.
Rocco?
That's right.
Rocco, the fuck out of here. Piece of shit, go work at the beach.
Well, because like she too wants to have sex with the attractive girl, because she has lesbian desire, and unfulfilled, like it like the when I say like the primary currency of this show is sex, I think that like the relationship between is it Mia or Mia?
It's Mia, yeah.
Valentina, the piano player, that fucking triangle of like, I'll get you a job if you fuck me. Okay, I'll fuck you. Me trying to fuck you, I accidentally give you ecstasy and almost kill you. Realizing I can offer sex to the hotel manager, giving it to her, getting the job. It's like it's like the most explicit version of what this story wants to kind of talk about.
There's speaking of currency, maybe this is loosely tangential, but those statues. Did you?
Oh, thank you.
First, they talked about those in the first episode, right? The Moorish, So I looked into that a little bit. So it's basically like the way it's talked about. Like I think Daphne asked about it, and like she says that the statues are a warning to husbands: if you fuck around, you'll end up buried in your garden. So like it's a story of a Moorish man who's visiting Sicily, and it's important to know in the context that at the time Sicily was actually under control of the Moors. So it's sort of like a rich outsider coming in to visit the sort of conquered territory. And so this guy professes his love for a village girl, and then she finds out that he has a lover back at home. So she severs his head and buries it, depending on the the
version of
version that you follow. But like these statues apparently are all over the place. And they're just sort of like part of the local customer culture. But in the very end, when Ethan and Harper are going at it, like they end up shattering one of those heads.
That's right.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's sort of like almost like this breaking of all those taboos. Like I think I feel like they're definitely going back on vacation together, even though there's all this friction. Like there are barriers been crossed. Like they've joined a level of elite, society, and they're fully initiated now.
Oh, I see. Yeah, that's kind of interesting. Well, because she's an employment lawyer, like at the beginning of this, and she still is at the end or whatever. But she, like, I represent, I already said she was an employment lawyer, but she deals with sexual harassment claims and discrimination claims or whatever. Like, she supposedly, like represents the working class. To what extent that, who are her clients, I don't know. But yeah, and she's meant to be sort of like Albie, sort of pure in this space, like awkward in this space, but at the end of the show has been assimilated into this space. And the trip to the White Lotus with its themes of the relationship between sex and death, somehow initiates you end up learning a lesson. Everybody like confronts some element of themselves and walks away a little changed at the end.
Yeah, there's a transaction. She got what she wanted, which is to reignite the lust between them, right?
Yeah.
It's just not the vector that she thought it would.
Yeah, not at all.
So it all comes down to Cameron.
Yeah, well, Cameron, it all comes down to Cameron changing into her husband's bathing suit, hanging dong, in the mirror.
That's right.
Background. I think I read on I think it was on IMDb, like that was a prosthetic penis, for whatever reason. And I didn't think anything. Like I remember reading the trivia and going like, what the fuck do I care about the prosthetic penis? But of course he's got like this giant fucking dong,
That's always a funny. You always wonder about that on nude scenes, like there's got to be like scenarios where you can get away with it, and other scenarios where you're like, yeah, this is going to be underwhelming,
Mm-hmm.
This is speaking about it, there's a total tangent, but there's you show the curse, the Nathan what's his name? It doesn't matter.
The Irish curse?
No, well, it kind of is, because he like there's a shot where he like shows dong, but it's like a micro penis, and they use a prosthetic for that as well. But he keeps referring to it. It's very funny.
There we go. I wonder what this is. Yes, Stephen Zahn. So I guess Jack and Theo James. That's that dude's name, right? Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah, both revealed that prosthetic penises were used for their respective nude scenes. Zahn's body double wore the prosthetic for the shot to save the time required for makeup. Yeah, that's funny.
I like the excuse. It's just to save for makeup time. It's not, my dick's the same size.
Well, the body double. Anyway, yeah, this was enjoyable. I just don't. I was just kind of, again, Chris, you've answered my sort of question. I was like, well, why is this in the Eat the Rich category? But it's. I prefer this to. I do like those, shows like The Menu and Triangle of Sadness, when it's like very explicit. We're just gonna fucking really sewer the rich. I would really like us to do like Parasite and some of the other entries in this,
anytime.
Like, this sort of cultural moment.
Yeah, I dig it. I like this show, and I feel like also this season had a comeback for me. But I'm definitely interested in. I don't know how much, like, I don't know how many times you can do the trope, but if you keep flipping the entire cast and all the scenery, and you keep up this like artistic pace and this like high quality dialogue and shooting, I mean, you could keep rolling this.
I think so. Like at a certain point, yeah, I guess it might run out of steam, but like I think the point of it, and getting back to my engine analogy, like this is you can just take stuff and put it into the machine, and the machine's going to spit out a season, and it works, right?
Yeah.
And
it's not going to turn the corner. It's not going to go downhill with Thailand as your locale.
No.
There's a lot you can do with that in terms of like exploitative rich people, you know. That's good.
It's going. If you're going to Thailand with Walt Goggins, it's going uphill.
Yeah. So I guess yeah. So I assume we're done. That I feel like we ate that one up, and so if so, then I'll talk about. So next week it's gonna be a little sad next week. We're gonna be week after. Let's tell people now that eventually we're gonna be doing some Ed Piskor stuff, and we're gonna be doing X-Men Grand Design. That's a little bit of a read. Give some people some time if they want to do that. And then next week, I don't know, James and I are gonna do some sort of like. I'm not sure. I mean, we might do the samurai movie, something.
Yeah, we were looking at that.
Yeah, if we like, there's no sense announcing it because like no one else is going to be able to watch it. It's like we're gonna get like 5 people listening to the episode.
It's gonna be hard to acquire that movie. Yeah, but I mean, if anyone wants to watch a movie in preparation, feel free to check out Rambo.
Yeah, we'll definitely be getting at that. Yeah, just for shits and giggles, the bounty we're gonna do the first episode, first movie in the Bounty Hunter trilogy, which has just been released from Radiance Films. So I guess if you have disposable cash and you want to get it, then please do. But otherwise, I guess you're just gonna listen to us talk about a movie that you can't see. It should be a real crowd pleaser.
Now, all we need is a little energon and a lot of luck.